gonna say we can go ahead and get started. Like I said, it's about 6:04, almost 6:05. And I just want to welcome everybody to tonight's In Business Growth Workshop presented by SCORE Charlotte, the Union County Public Library, and the Southwest Region of the Small Business Center. Southwest Region of the Small Business Center Network has locations in Cleveland, Central Piedmont, Gaston, Rowan, Cabarrus, South Piedmont, and Stanley Community Colleges. And as you can see on the screen, I guess you're all seeing the screen, tonight's event is use YouTube to grow your business. And I got to tell you, that was probably the last thing I would think to grow my business, but everybody's doing it now. What goes around comes around. And SCORE really is a national all-volunteer organization, a resource partner with many organizations focused on needs of entrepreneurs and small businesses. We serve those who are thinking about going into business, starting a small business, buying an existing business. All of our mentoring is confidential, face-to-face, and free. We do have a couple classes that we charge for, but that's to cover the cost of rental of space or printing. We have one more event planned with Google coming up on June 30th, and that's again in partnership with the library and the SPCC, and that's Learn the Basics of Google Ads. And we were talking before this, I think in July, we're going to be doing a program called Connect with Customers and Manage Your Business Remotely, which is a Google event, but we'll be putting it on probably between the library and SCORE as well. And with that, I'm going to introduce Christy Stars, who's with the Union County Library.
Thank you, Danny. And I am so happy that we're with Deming Bass, who is our Grow with Google trainer. And Deming has helped more than 40,000 businesses and hundreds of chambers become better at marketers, with raising millions for economic development organizations and communities across the United States. So if you have not been a part of this series so far, you're in for a treat. He is Georgia Trends magazine's top 100 most notable Georgians and Atlanta Business Chronicle's top 40 under 40 influential leaders. Deming is an accomplished and results-oriented business and nonprofit and entrepreneur, nationally recognized for his extensive branding and marketing communications, strategic planning, public policy, management, leadership development, and business development successes. His career includes over 20 years of management at the Southeast U.S. Regional Development Director for Constant Contact, which was one of the nation's top SaaS companies, and as a senior executive for the nation's top chambers of commerce in the Triad. He's also a former Story Brand certified guide, which is, of course, just tons of things that he's done with the library and with small businesses that we're very happy to have him here. He's also an award-winning artist, which he has donated more than 40,000 to local charities, and we are welcoming you, Deming. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Chrissy, and thank you, Danny, for hosting this. And we're excited to bring this webinar to you. For those of you that were on early, you got a little bonus session. I was trying to talk about my Charlotte roots. I'm from Charlotte. We were talking about some Ric Flair and dusty roads in East Mecklenburg High School. And I'm based in Atlanta now, but I get to do this all over the country for Google. And I'm really excited to be able to do this for all of you guys with our great partnership with SCORE and Union County Libraries and the community college system. So tonight is a really good one. This is going to be a fun one. It's all about YouTube and video. Why it's so important, but we are going to make you in less than an hour, you're going to be the next Steven Spielberg when it comes to creating some great videos for your business. Also, a couple things. If you have any questions, you can put those in. I'm going to get to all the questions at the end. I found that the best thing to do for webinars to stay on time is to jump right into the presentation, but I'm going to get to everybody's questions at the end, so type those in. Also, stick around because at the end, I'm going to give you guys a special link as a thank you for up to $150 in free Google matching ad credit. So if you ever want to try out an ad campaign, that's some free money for you. And I've got some really, really cool links to some really cool free Google resources that will help you do an even deeper dive into YouTube and video. And again, become the next Steven Spielberg. So we've already covered this. That's me, and you heard all about me, but let's talk about you, and let's talk about YouTube and why YouTube is so important. So why is YouTube so important? Well, if any of you guys, if you're like me, I've got twin 12-year-olds, And just think about when I was growing up, we had like one TV, maybe two TVs, a couple of channels. Everybody would gather in, watch the shows on Wednesday or Thursday night. Now we may still watch TV, but if you look around, if your family is around, your kids are around, what are they doing? They're like watching TV. They're also holding up their smartphones and their tablets and their iPads. Everybody's on YouTube watching videos. What's interesting, some cool stats, you've got over 2 billion monthly logged in users. You've got, of those, over 1 billion of hours of video are watched per day. Of those billion hours, by the way, about 500 million are watched by my daughter Reagan, who is watching like slime videos. And now the thing is like fidgets and trading fidgets. If you guys have kids, you know what I'm talking about. But here's an interesting stat that I want you guys to write down. Make sure you're taking notes because that's how you learn. Write this down. YouTube, two things. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine in the entire world. So Google's number one, YouTube is number two. Remember that. YouTube is essentially just a search engine for video. So it's just a search engine for video. The other thing that I want you to write down is that YouTube reaches basically 91% of the online US population. Now write that down, let that sink in. 91% of the online US population is reached by YouTube. That means your audience is on YouTube. They're on all these different devices. They're on their smartphone, their tablets, their computers. So this is a great opportunity to connect with your customers and share information about your products and services. YouTube is also where people go to discover. Think about this stat here and think about your own experience. Have you purchased a product or a service where you went to YouTube first to do some research, right? To learn a little bit more about it, right? So many people are doing that now. They're spending that time doing that research before they ever even buy. And one of the other interesting things about this with YouTube is that, and especially with video and YouTube, is that if you think about it, unlike other maybe social media or other marketing opportunities out there, when you're going and you're watching video, you get to choose which video you want to watch, right? If you're interested in a particular topic, you're going to choose if I want to watch that video or not. When you have all those skippable ads, you mostly skip them. But if it interests you, all right, I'll watch it, right? Well, when you allow your customers to choose and to pick something, when they choose it, guess what happens? They pay attention to it, right? They pay attention to it because it matters to them. They chose it, they want to watch, they're going to watch, and then they're more likely to engage and share and subscribe and do all of that. So that's one of the cool things about YouTube and video that's a little bit different from some of the other marketing channels out there. The other thing is that YouTube is where people go to engage, right? So people watch videos and you can use that when they're focused interest in that, in what you want, right? They're doing, remember, it's a search engine. So they're out there searching for a product or service. And in that moment, they are ready to learn something, do something, go somewhere, or buy. So when you show up, when your video shows up, it's going to help grow your business on YouTube. Now, as you think about the videos, and I'm going to show you how to do all this in a second, but if you've been on any of my webinars, I am all about focusing in, zeroing in on what is your one main goal, one main purpose of each video, okay? Now, there's a couple of different goals that you might want to set here. These are all great objectives for videos, but again, pick one, focus on one goal for each video. You might want the goal of your video to build awareness about your company or your products or service. So they watch the video, now they know more about you, they want to learn more. It could influence consideration. So now they've learned about you, they've done research, now they want to go and start shopping around for your products or services. Now they're ready to buy. It could immediately be all about driving online sales. They watch a video, they click to buy. Or maybe you have a store or a storefront or a place they can visit. They watch a video, they want to come to your location. And then it can be all about growing loyalty. So they watch a video and now it sort of builds that connection and that bond with your brand. And they're more likely to tell people about your business or your product or service. But again, these are all great objectives. as we move through this presentation, maybe for fun, think about what would that next video be, or maybe it's your first video, and pick one of these goals. I want you to write it down, what you want the goal of your next video to be. Now, before I jump in and show you how to do it, I also like to sort of show you how this works in the real world, right? So let's use this example that shows you how this customer and the business used YouTube, as well as other marketing examples to get them to actually buy a car. And if you think about buying a car, how many of you guys, just go out, you decide one day, hey, I want to get a new car, and then you're maybe on YouTube or somewhere online, you see an ad for the new car, you're like, ooh, that's awesome. You click on the ad, and guess what? You click and you buy the car. Does that happen to you guys? Does everybody do that? No, you don't do that. No, I think if you're like super rich, maybe that's how it works. But for most of us, it doesn't happen that way, right? Most of us, I think the average time frame is it takes about anywhere, I think it takes about, on average, about 2.5 months from when you start thinking about a new car to when you actually purchase. So let's look at how this Sunnyvale Motors actually uses YouTube with other marketing opportunities to get people to buy a car. And hopefully this starts getting you thinking about getting lights going off in your head about how you can use YouTube. So we have this person here, we're going to call her Christy from Union County Libraries. She's thinking about a car. She's watching a YouTube video. Maybe it's about cars or anything. But guess what? Suddenly this little bumper ad shows up. What's a bumper ad? I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to explain it to you in a few minutes. So she watches a bumper ad. It's for Sunnyvale Motors. She's like, oh, Sunnyvale Motors. So then she goes and she does a search for Sunnyvale Motors. She goes to the website, she goes around, she looks around at the cars, picks the year out, the color, the type of car that she's interested in, but she doesn't buy, right? She doesn't buy. Then she goes off to another site or goes off about her regular daily living. But when she leaves, a cookie is stored, and a cookie is just a fancy term for a little code that's kept so that now the company knows, the business knows that Christy came to the website and was interested in cars, and specifically maybe she was interested in like a Grand Cherokee or something. So now the company is going to remarket to her on YouTube. So they want their ads. Now they run a little ad campaign. When she goes back on YouTube, guess what? The ads start showing up. It's Sunnyvale Motors, and maybe it's Jeep Grand Cherokees, right? This has happened to all of us. This is what's called remarketing. It used to be only available for the big guys, but now it's available to you as small businesses and nonprofits. So she keeps seeing that, and she'll go and click and do some more shopping. Now Sunnyvale Motors is top of mind. She goes to the dealership, she has a test drive, and then she purchases it. But do you see how all of this sort of fits in? So I love the big picture. So now let's show you what you're going to learn here in the next 45 minutes or so. I'm going to show you how to create a home, or what we call a channel, for your business on YouTube. Then don't worry. And by the way, you don't need to be a tech genius. You don't need to know anything about video or anything about computers or even digital marketing. What I'm going to teach you, you're going to be able to do in about 30 minutes or so. So we're going to show you how to create a channel or a home for your business on YouTube. Then I'm going to show you how can you create great videos that are going to help you achieve your business goal. I'm going to show you how do you organize your channel so that you attract the most viewers. We'll talk a little bit about how you can promote your business through video and video ads. And then we'll touch on how to stream video with YouTube live if you ever want to go live and connect with your customers and your audience. And then again, for those of you that are joining us, I've got some really cool free resources that'll help you dig deep and create amazing videos, as well as that link for $150 in matching Google ad credit. So let's start with creating a home for your business on YouTube, or what we call a channel. So think about TV. And again, I think about the old days when I was growing up. You just had like ABC, CBS, NBC. I'm thinking in Charlotte, and then we had like was it WCCB or something like that? I'm trying to remember that, Channel 18 or whatever. You only had a few channels, right? Well, think about that. You get to create your own channel. You get to be the producer, the director, the star, the content creator. You're creating a channel for your business, and you get to own it. And all of this is free. You don't have to pay for any of it. So how do you get started? Well, no surprise. I want you guys to write this down. You can go right after the webinar. You go to youtube.com, and this is where you create your channel for your company. To get started, you'll go up into the top right. You'll see sign in. You're going to want to sign in to YouTube with your Google account. If you're wondering what a Google account is, if you have a Gmail, that's your Google account. That's usually your username, and there's a password associated with it. You can sign in. If you don't have a Google account, you can create one for free. So just go create one for free, and then you'll have your Google account. That allows you to log in and out of all of Google's products, from Gmail to Photos to Drive and YouTube. But when you go in here, you click sign in. If you're already logged in, you'll see a little circle up top. That'll be you're already in your account. You'll see a circle with either your image or like your initials, and you'll click on that, and they'll create this little pull down menu that you see right here, and you'll see this option that says create a channel. So when you see that, you want to click on create a channel, and this is where you create your business channel. Now, a couple of tips I'll say as you're doing this. When you decide to do this, don't do it on a smartphone or even a tablet, because it's smaller. It's usually best on a big screen, on the laptop, or on a computer. Number two, make sure it's separate. It's a business channel just for your business. It's separate from your personal account. You may already have like some personal videos out there, your kids or your dogs, and I'm sure they're amazing, but your customers probably don't want to see that. They want to focus in on your business stuff. So I would create a separate business channel, and you will use the name for your business channel of whatever the name is people would identify with you. So if you are Vince's Village Cobbler, put in Vince's Village Cobbler, that is your channel. Next, you're going to want to upload a profile picture that best represents your business channel. So you can upload your image right here on the computer. A couple of things to think about for your image. You're probably going to do one of three things. Most of you, your image will probably want to be your logo. And remember, your image is what's going to be showing up when people see your profile or when they're watching the videos. So it's usually going to be your logo. In some cases, if you have like one specific product that you sell, it could be a picture of the product. And for some of you, if you're the brand, so I'm thinking if you're a real estate agent, folks like that, where people, you have your picture on your card and everybody's like this, kind of like the picture you saw that I had, it might be the image of you. But for most of you, it's going to be your logo for your company. Next, you're going to want, as you start creating the channel, it's going to prompt you to write a description. Now, this is where I want to pause, because this is really important. You remember what I said at the beginning about what YouTube is? YouTube really is nothing more than a search engine for video, right? So think of that, get that in your head, and you're going to be great at this. That means that the more descriptive you can be, the more content, the more words, the more information that you put in there into your description and throughout everything I'm going to be teaching you from this slide on, that's more content, words, keywords that Google's picking up. So your channel is going to be more likely to be picked up than your competitor's channel. In fact, all of you guys that are on here right now, and if you stick to this presentation, you do what I'm telling you to do, your channel will start showing up higher than all of those competitors who all they did was they went in, they created a name for a channel, they threw an image up, but they never took the time to do everything I'm getting ready to show you right here. So take some time, think about the keywords people would use, and be very descriptive about what it is that you do, what's the benefit to your customers, and how can they take advantage of it. Then make sure you link to your website, and make sure you add any social links here as well, so that people can access that when they come to your channel. Once, as you create the channel, and this is what the dashboard looks like, where you're going to be able to go in and make updates or edits, but I want to just cover a couple of highlights. Number one is you want to make sure you go in and you add channel art. Channel art is going to be this little banner back here. You want the images and the graphics to showcase your brand, showcase your products and services, your colors. This is what's going to make your channel pop and make it stand out and make it unique from your competition and from other folks, and immediately visually show people what it is that you actually do. The most technical, geeky thing that I'm going to do in this entire presentation is right now. And in fact, I'm going to look and make sure I'm going to read it after write this down. Because when you're creating the image for your channel art, you want to make sure it looks good on a desktop or a laptop, also on a smartphone, also on a tablet. But a lot of times, if it looks great on a big laptop or desktop, when it's shrunk down, sometimes the images can be cropped and it looks bad. You've experienced this. So the best dimensions for your channel art back here, I want you to write this down, are 2560 by 1440 pixels. Did you get that? 2560 by 1440 pixels. If your artwork is within that, it's going to look good pretty much. It'll take care of a lot of those cropping issues and things like that. You'll always be able to go in and edit any of this information. You'll also be able to organize videos through sections. Sections allow you to group videos based on the topic or based on the product or based on the service. And you can have up to 10 sections on your channel. And then up here, this is the other good place to know, because anytime you're ready to go live, which we'll talk about, or to upload a video, it's going to be up here. You'll click on the camera button. Okay. Now, if you're like me, I'm like, dimming, that's awesome, but I want to see one that looks good. Give me a case study. So here's an example of a channel. They've done a really good job with the branding, and they followed everything I talked about. Up here, this is that channel art I talked about. They've used it to add their logo in. I like the fact that they have the copy that shows every Thursday they've got a new video coming out, something that you can watch. Visually, it shows, what do they do? It is all about cooking some yummy food, right? As you move down here, you've got what's called a channel trailer. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And this is where their description is. We talked about the description. Again, spend some time, don't rush through. Spend some time talking about why they need to, this is what you're going to offer, encouraging them to subscribe. This is what they're going to learn. This is the value that you bring to them. The movie, the channel trailer is like a movie trailer, short trailer that's going to showcase visually what it is that you have to offer. All right. Now, that literally will only take you 5 to 10 minutes at most. It's not going to take you a lot of time to create that channel and get it up and running. Okay. So that's what I want you to do right after the webinar. 5 to 10 minutes, get that loaded. Okay. Now, though, I want to talk to you and show you how can you create videos that are going to be amazing? How can you create videos that are going to help you achieve your business goal and to get people to take action? So here's the cool thing about living in 2021. The bad thing about living in 2020 was COVID, which is terrible, but we're moving past that. But the cool thing about living in 2021 is technology. With technology and with these little devices here and our smartphones and everything and the apps that you can download for free, you are able to create great videos for free, or basically for free. But think about this. If you go back 20, 30 years ago and you wanted to shoot a video about your company and get it out there in front of people, you would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to create the video. Then you'd have to buy airtime and ad space and all that. You couldn't do what you can do today. I mean, think about it. You would have to have a director. You'd have to hire this person over here who does whatever that is with the snappy thing. You would have to have the big old camera thing. You'd have to have the big lights, the lights with the screens and all that, and it's lit up and all that. You'd have to pay for all that. Now, you got your smartphone with a couple of apps, and you can knock it out. This is the point I want you to really understand. I want you to write this down. When it comes to video, and especially if you've never done a video before or you're new to this, do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I'll say that again. Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Do not be afraid to shoot a video, post it on YouTube about your business. The problem I found, whether it was with Google or the years I worked with Constant Contact or anytime I worked with small businesses, is they were fearful like it wasn't good enough. And to get them to hit send on an email is like, it's once it goes, and they hated it. You probably feel that tension right now. Do it anyways. And I'll tell you why. When you do what I'm getting ready to show in these next couple of slides, you will have a solid sound video that's going to work for you. You shouldn't be embarrassed by it. You can knock it out. The other thing too is, you know what? People don't want things to be perfect. Do you know this? Especially with video, they're used to it being, what they want is, they don't want perfect, they want authenticity, right? They want to know the real you. They want to know that you're a real person with a real product and a real service that is going to help their life in some way. And it doesn't need a brilliantly lit, perfect sound, all of that. It just needs to be good. And following what I'm getting ready to show, it will be good. So make sure you understand that and you do that. So how do you create a great video? Number one, it's all about the story that you want to tell. Remember, going back a few slides, I said pick one goal, one objective you want for the video. So now you know what that objective is. So now, what is the story that you want to tell? Do you want to talk about a product? Do you want to talk about a service? Do you want to talk about your business? Do you want to talk about your customers' problems and how you solve them? Also, who's going to star in your video? Remember, this is just like the old ABC, CBS, NBC. This is your channel. Who's going to be that star? Who's going to be that Jerry Seinfeld? Is that going to be you? Is that going to be somebody else? Is that going to be a customer? Just remember, whoever shows up consistently in your video will become the face of your brand. And then, how can you best capture the sights and the sounds of your video? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But here's the big thing that you want to think about. Once you've shot everything, once you've done everything, what's the best way to edit it? And there's a lot of great editing apps out there, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I will say this. If there's one thing, if you've got like a shoestring budget, you can do all of this yourself. If you're going to invest in anything, you may want to find somebody that can help you edit your video. Because again, this is not your area of expertise. You can learn it, you can do it. It's easy on apps, but if you want to find somebody that can drop in really cool logos and lighten it up or make it look good, this is maybe where you might want to spend that money. But again, you can do it yourself. And so much of the technology and the apps out there, they help you do it yourself really easily. All right, tips for writing the script. This is the secret. You want to know how to have an awesome video? It's all about your script. And unfortunately, everybody just jumps to shooting a video, and they don't think about this. You need to write a script for every video that you shoot. Even a lot of these YouTubers that have been doing it forever, I guarantee you they have a script. I guarantee you they've rehearsed most of it. They'll make it look like they're winging it, but they know exactly what they're doing and they've rehearsed it. So the key to writing a really good script is to have a clear, concise message. Get right to the point. Again, going back to that goal, what is that message? What is the one thing that you want your viewers to understand or learn or to do? The other thing is you want to make a strong impression in the first 5 to 15 seconds. Why is this? Think about anytime you're on social media, search or YouTube videos, and if you see a video and if it doesn't immediately capture your attention, you just go right past it. There's so many other opportunities out there. But if you can capture them really in the first 5 to 10 seconds, then they're captured and then they're going to want to watch more. Now, how do you do this? You ready for some psychological magic? Well, this gets into the story brand piece that you heard me talk about earlier. You heard that I did. The best way to capture somebody immediately, whether it's video or the next time you're at a SCORE event, you're at the library, anybody talks to you about what you do, is start by talking about the problem that your customers are facing. You know what? Because guess what? All they care about, they really don't care about you. They really don't care about your business. And they really don't care about your products or service. They care about the problem they're dealing with right now. But if you can solve that problem, then now they're paying attention, right? So leading with the problem, and the best way to, in video to capture their attention is to start with a question. So start with a question. So I'm sitting here thinking, I had like landscapers out here doing stuff today, making lots of noise, right? So off the top of my head, it could be something like, hey, have you ever worried that your yard is the worst looking yard in the neighborhood and all your grass is dying? You got just a bunch of weeds. Well, guess what? If I'm looking for something about yard care, lawns, and then I see somebody say, are you worried you have the worst lawn in the neighborhood? You just got a bunch of weeds. If I'm struggling with that, it opens up in my mind something called a story loop. Okay, story loop. And so I'm sitting there thinking subconsciously, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And when you open a story loop, your brain, your mind has to close the story loop. I'll give you a great example. This happens, by the way, hundreds of times during the day in your real life. This happens hundreds of times in every movie you've ever seen, every book you've read. The screenwriters are opening story loops and closing them. And what that does is it hooks you. And you're trying to see like, yeah, that is a problem. And before you ever even talk about your company, you're sitting there thinking, can you help me solve that? You can fix that for me, right? And even in music, the mind, it opens up and closes the story loop. I'll give you a great example. If I were to sit here and say, Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as. What just happened then? You either, and I don't know you, right? And I can't see you, but you either said out loud snow or your mind said snow. That's opening, closing a story loop. When you start with the question that talks about the problem within the first 5 to 10 seconds, that's the hook. And they're like, yes. Then you pivot to what is the solution. So now, do you, in your yard, is it embarrassing? You got too many weeds? Well, listen, here are 3 things you can do in the month of May that's going to make your yard look great by the month of June, right? So now you're like, oh, and now I want to watch. I want to learn this, right? May never do anything with it, but I want to learn it. And then you want to finish with that call to action. Say, do these 3 things, you're going to have a great yard in June. By the way, if you love this video, you learned a lot, make sure you subscribe down below because we send these out once a week. These are tips that are going to have your yard looking like a pro did it, but it was really just you all along, right? That is your script. Make sure you have that really concise message, that number 1 goal you want to focus on. Have that start with the question, talking about the problem, talk about the solution, and finish with that call to action. And what you're doing with this is the other thing I want you to understand. Video and YouTube is a lot like social media in that you don't want to do hardcore selling. People are turned off when you go to YouTube, you want to be entertained, right? You're not going to YouTube necessarily to be sold. You want to be entertained or you want to learn something. So think about that. It's a soft sell, right? You want to offer value. You want to share things that are going to make their life better in some way. They'll come back again and again, and they will become a customer. Some other tips for shooting your video. It's all about space, lighting, and sound. So space, you need to make sure it's free of clutter. Make sure when you're thinking about when you're going to come on, of course you have filters now too, just understand what's behind you, right? Because if you're like me now, I'm not shooting a video to sell anything, I'm just doing a webinar, but like even you may have been looking behind me at the stuff behind me. Here's the problem, right? Think about all those Zoom calls you've been on or Google Meet calls. Think about back during when COVID first hit, right? And all the journalists were having like work from home and the entertainers were working from home and instead of a studio. And as they're talking, were you paying attention to what they said? Or were you like me and you're like looking over their shoulder? I'm like, I wonder what books they read. I wonder why they read those books. I wonder what that art is. I wonder how they live their life. They probably have lots of money. I wonder what their house is like. Are you like me? That happens, right? That is distracting. You don't want people to be distracted by all this stuff in the background. So the more you can free that of clutter, the better. Think visually, maybe have your logo, have a good filter, or if you have a really cool workplace, you can showcase that in the background. Lighting. This intimidates a lot of people. They feel like, well, I can't do a video unless I have all the fancy lighting stuff, right? Well, lighting, the best lighting that you can have is actually natural lighting. And so when you're shooting, you don't need any fancy lighting. You don't need all that setup. Again, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, but just face the source of your lighting. Now, I also happen to have a ring light here, and that's something you could look into. You can get little ring lights. You can Google ring lights after this is over, that you set up behind the computer and it lights you up. I've got a big one that Google sent to me. I could turn this around and show it to you. You could do that, but again, you can get away with natural lighting. It'll be great. And just make sure it's not dark and lots of shadows. And then sound is, the beauty of shooting video is you can shoot video, listen to it, watch it, delete it, try it again, edit it, make it better. You can do it over and over till, not perfect, but it's very, very good. So listen to the space, make sure it's not too echoey. If you want to, you can use a mic. I've got 2 or 3 like fancy mics over here, but I don't even use them on my webinars because this is perfectly fine. I'm just talking into the computer. For most of you, the computer is going to be perfectly fine as well. The one thing that is going to make you sound great, even more so than a mic, honestly, in my opinion, is to speak confidently, okay? Now, how do you speak confidently? Well, you need to know your stuff. So this is where you go back to your script, you're writing your script, look over it, and I want you to rehearse it a good 7 to 10 times before you ever try to record it. And listen to yourself, make it sound natural. You want it to almost come to a point where you're not even thinking about it. It's just like muscle memory, and you're just talking. And then also, as you record it, watch it, play it back. And again, don't be too sensitive about how you look or anything like that. But look at, and then start thinking about, how can I make that look a little bit more natural, right? Or how can I make it sound a little bit more natural? When we're doing Google webinars for Grow with Google, anytime they give us a new presentation, I'll sit down and go through it, and I will rehearse it by myself for at least 10 times before I ever give it, so that I know the material, I know it, I get it, I understand it, but I also, it's not like I'm trying to think too hard to tell you what to do. It's got to come across naturally. When you do that, when you slow down, a lot of times I speak fast in webinars because we got a lot of ground to cover, but if I were to stop and slow down and say, now this is a really interesting point, and I don't want you to forget this. You can almost tell, you're like, ooh, wait, you were probably not even paying attention to me 30 seconds ago. When I slowed down and did that, it created the sense, right? So you play around with that, but speaking confidently is going to make your video great. All right, now you are on your way to becoming Steven Spielberg. You can create a great video. Now, how can you organize your channel to attract viewers? So there's going to be a couple ways that you're going to start getting viewers. One is through your own efforts, through your own marketing. People are going to be coming to your channel. They're going to be watching the trailer, the description, learning about you, hopefully subscribing, watching the videos. Other folks will be coming to your channel because they were interested in your product or service, and they saw another video, or maybe your video was recommended to them. So that's going to be the first introduction into you. So how do you organize your channel to attract the most viewers? So let's go back here to Divas Can Cook. We already talked about this. Great job again with the channel art, nice branding, visually showing what they do. Have that really helpful description. Keywords here make all the difference in the world. It's going to be tying in with what people are looking for. Your video trailer, this is like the movie trailer that we used to go to when we could go to movies, which hopefully now we can. But think about it, quick 2-minute video that showcases and shows them this is what you're going to learn when you come to our channel. These are the types of videos you're going to learn. And then down here, you want to be thinking about your playlist and grouping your playlist. So the playlist is like playlist on it, on your phone. You group it based on whatever that would be. So think about grouping it in terms of your products or services, where they would be, if they see one video, they'd be interested in any of these. And you can see in this case, this is Divas Can Cook. It's the best classic Southern recipes, right? So somebody's interested in Southern recipes, they're coming here. But they may also have a playlist that is like the best classic Italian recipes or the best classic Mexican recipes or whatever, something like that. But in this case, best classic Southern recipes. So think about, and then start thinking about as you create videos, what would those playlists be? Group them down there. It'll make it easier for people to find. So now you've shot your video, your first video based on those best practices. Now, what do you do with it? How do you get it on YouTube? How do you get it on your channel? If you want to upload, all you do is go up here to the top right, go back to your youtube.com, and you go up here, see in the top right, see back here, it's grayed out, but it says create. Click on create, and then you can simply drag or drop or upload the video that you shot. Then, again, don't skip over this. This is what everybody skips over. This is why you and your channel is going to show up above theirs. Remember, I keep saying this, YouTube is nothing more than a search engine. The more content you put in, the more words you use, the more you really think about how you would describe the video, the more successful you're going to be in people finding it. So go to your title. Think about how would people search for whatever it was you just shot. And a great title is always going to be how to, right? But think about what people would search for. So how to make a 3-tier wedding cake. Don't put anything in there about like, here's the results of our first quarter profits or something like that. Again, what would your customer be searching for when they're interested in your product and service? Again, just like a description for your channel, think about what would the description, how would you describe this specific video and go into detail about it. YouTube will automatically create or pick 3 different thumbnails to use, but if you don't like any of these, you can create your own thumbnail and pop it in there. And then finally, there's some audience sort of checks and balances down here. YouTube has some restrictions if it's for kids, right? Because we're trying to protect kids from bad content. So you'll want to make sure it's yes for kids, and you'll want to fill that information out, or no, it's not for kids. Next, a couple of things that are going to make you pop and make you stand out from anybody else. You don't have to do these things, but you could add an end screen. And an end screen is, this is where the text starts coming up within, it lasts between 5 and 20 seconds. So you need to have a video that's at least 25 seconds long to use this. This is where the text comes up towards the end of the video, and it says, like this video, subscribe here. They can click, or interested in this video, and it can drive them to other videos. Cards are similar. They can allow you to be more interactive. So if you want to take a poll, you want folks to answer or ask questions, polls, you can add a card in there as well. Again, don't have to do this, but again, this could be helpful for you depending on your product or your service. Now you're almost ready to publish. Now you want to make sure, who is it that you want to see the video? There's 3 types of ways to do this. One, it could be by public. This is where everybody sees your video. When people search, they find your video. My guess is most of you are going to want it to be public. It could be unlisted, which is anyone with a video link that you send out in your own marketing, they'll be able to find it, but this isn't going to show up when people are searching for your product or service. And then finally, private, which is only you and people you choose to see the video. And then you schedule when you want to make your video public, and then you're up and running, okay? Now your video is published, but are you done? No. Think about this. You spent all of this time, all of this effort, thinking about my video, scripting my video, rehearsing my video, doing the lighting, the sound, all of this, description, creating a channel, doing all that. Now it's published. You need to tell people you have a video. So when it's about to be published or video is published, you'll have the option to link to all of your social media. Do that. Tell everybody in the world you got a video out, drive traffic there, okay? Now, maybe only 10 people will go, but still drive traffic there. Baby steps, okay? Then as you create videos on your YouTube channel, remember to use everything in your marketing mix to drive people to your channel. In your social media, have your links to the video, driving them to watch the video. On your website, by the way, when you have video on your website, that, you know, because it's Google and it's YouTube and Google owns YouTube, this is going to help you with your SEO. Plus, people want to watch videos. Getting lazy, folks. You guys, me, we're all getting lazy. We don't want to read. We just want to watch videos. So have a video on your website that links to YouTube. Your blog's linking to YouTube. Your email is linking to YouTube. All of this will drive traffic to your YouTube channel, and you'll start seeing that engagement. Then after it's been up and running for some time, a couple weeks to a month, I want you to go, when you go into your channel, this is what the dashboard looks like. Look for this little tab over here called Analytics. And this is where you're going to be able to see what is actually happening with your channel. Okay. So here in Analytics, so for example, you're on the overview page, you can see that this, so Stacia's Bakery's channel got 2,731 views in the last 28 days. 80 hours of watch time, 37 subscribers. And remember, these are going to be low when you get started, and that's okay. You're taking baby steps. I might have mentioned this, but one of my favorite quotes by John Acuff, he's an author, is never compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Don't compare you starting out on YouTube with your videos with some YouTube rock star that's been doing this for 10 years. That's unfair. They started out early and young and didn't have anything either. Baby steps. But in here, you also have other tabs. You can see engagement, reach, audience. You can learn about your audience as well. So now all of this traffic you're driving through your own marketing efforts. Well, Deming, how can I expand that? How can you get more people who have never heard of me? This is where, if you want to, you can promote your business using some video or running some video ad campaigns. The beauty of advertising is, especially digitally, is number one, again, they're searching for your products or service. Your video is showing up. That's what they're looking for. So you connect with the people that matter to you. They're interested in you. Also, you only pay when they watch your video or ad. All those times we skip the ad, like over here, those folks do not pay. They only pay when they watch at least 30 seconds or all the way through to the end of your ad. And you're able to see in real time, is it working for you or not? When you're thinking about ad campaigns, there's lots of different formats based on attention spans, really short ones for short attention spans, snacks for middle, and then meals. These are 30 seconds or more. So now let me walk you through very briefly some of the different types of ads you can run. We talked about bumper ads. These are those really quick 6-second ads that show up. And then you're forced to watch them, right? And you're like, but it's only 6 seconds. And people always ask, well, what about, is that really going to do anything? And actually the research does show the bumper ads that does drive that significant recall on your brand and what you're doing. If you choose to do this, sort of the best practice tip is to run it and remarket it to people who watch your TrueView skippable ads. I'll show you that in a second. So again, you're just saying this is all about top of mind stuff. Don't know that you're going to sell a lot, but it'll be top of mind building your brand there. The TrueView ad, this is the one that skips after 5 seconds. Normally I would show you this video, but sometimes with GoToWebinar, but you've seen the TrueView ad. These are where the ads pop up. And if you don't care about it, you're looking down here in the bottom right where it says skip in 6, 5, 4, 3, right? And you're just like, whatever, just get me to that and then skip it. Bam, I want to watch my video, right? That's what we do for most. But here's the beauty of ads and video ads on YouTube. When you skip that ad, this company did not pay at all for that ad because you skipped it. But if it's interesting enough, then you don't mind it going, and now you watch it and you learn. So again, it gets back to what I talked about at the beginning. You chose to watch it. You're more interested. Therefore, depending on your ad, you're more likely to engage. if you run tree view ads, recommendation is always have your brand, your logo, your company, and your main point you want to make. Maybe use that question, maybe tie into the problem, bam, right there in the first 6 seconds, 5 seconds, because even if they skip it, they'll remember your brand or your logo. Companion banners, or what you see up here in the top right, these are free, that your logo, but you just make sure you set them up. So anytime they skip your ad when they're watching their video, if they wanted to watch after they skipped your ad, you'll still have your logo up there, so it builds up that brand loyalty. All right, now really quickly as we wrap up, I want to touch very briefly on YouTube Live, and then I'll share with you those cool resources and I'll answer any questions that you have. So what is YouTube Live? So YouTube Live basically allows you to live stream an event and connect with your customers in real time. And this can be for anybody out there. They don't have to have a Google account. They don't have to do any of that, but you are streaming live and your stream may appear in the YouTube search results. So why would you want to consider running a YouTube Live? A lot of businesses and nonprofits use it. Think about if you have a live in-person event, we were talking about this at the beginning too, you can stream it now and it opens up access to a whole bunch of other audiences. Providing expert interviews where either you're the person interviewing or they're interviewing you. You bring in experts, they bring in their audience. They're promoting to their audience that you're talking to them. Those people are learning about you. It positions you as an expert and them as an expert. Most of the time, a lot of you guys will do it for Q&A or frequently asked questions. So this is a great way to announce to the world, hey, listen, guys, next Thursday at 3 p.m., I'm going to answer all of your biggest questions as it relates to marketing on YouTube. And then you can say, send me your questions, and I'm going to be answering that. And obviously, new product demos are also really good. So if you want to get started with YouTube Live, you simply go here to studio.youtube.com. And the one thing you need to know, the first time you do a YouTube Live, you do need to set it up at least 24 hours in advance. So if you're like, Demi, this is awesome, I'm going to do YouTube Live tonight today, can't do that. Got to go here, set it up first, follow the steps to verify your account and enable it. And once you're verified that first time, that first 24 hours, then you can do it whenever. But you'll go to studio.youtube.com and then you'll click up here in the top right button, go live when you're ready to do it. So again, when you're ready to go live, you click go live. And just like all the other videos though, and again, you're setting this up for maybe sometime in the future, you want to think about what is the title going to be of your YouTube Live and what is the description, what is the audience? Yes, it's for kids. No, it's not for kids. When you click next, smile for the camera, because then your camera on your computer is going to snap that little thumbnail, and that's what it'll show up for as you actually host it. Couple little checklists to think through before you go live. Again, make sure the sound's good, there's no clutter, lighting looks good, schedule it, the live stream, provide that detailed video description so people will find it when they search. Make sure the thumbnail looks good and it's brightly colored. That'll draw more people. And then announce it to your audience when it's going to happen and gather audience questions ahead of time. That'll start building excitement about your event. Next, when you're actually doing it, make sure you feature the event on your channel. You remember the script when you're doing any video. Same thing here. You want to know and rehearse, like, what is your opening line and how are you going to finish, so that you speak confidently, you get right to the point. Hey guys, this is the point of today. Go into that. And then at that point, stick to what the point of the YouTube Live is, answer the questions, and you can create highlight clips while you're live. Then when you're done, don't forget, you've got this is great content you've created. So publish a live stream archive to your channel. You can create an archive playlist, and then you direct all your audiences after that. Hey, go check out our archives of the most frequently asked questions for our products or services. All right, guys, still with me? So let's wrap it up. Let's bring it home, answer your questions, and share those resources. Your next steps. go back and create that channel. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes. Very easy. They'll prompt you through it. Number 2, use those tips that I shared with you, rehearse them, script them, start with the problem, start with the question, shift to the solution, give that call to action, create and upload those photos, even when you're afraid. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And then as you're working through this, explore additional resources. What are those resources that can help? A lot of you guys may have questions about apps and production and what's the best this and that. This is awesome. I want you to screenshot this. By the way, I'll send you a copy of this presentation in the recording, or Score will, and the libraries. But go here to the Creator Academy. Go to creatoracademy.youtube.com. Absolutely free. We'll teach you everything you ever want to know after today, how to create the absolute best videos and how to do everything from getting started to content strategy ideas to production, how to create great produced videos. Also, I love this skill shop. If you go to g.co/skillshop, if you ever want to become an expert on any of Google's products or services, you can go in here, spend literally hours if you want, get certified and go really deep. This is also great for, that's not my dog. That might be Danny's dog. But this is great for middle schoolers and high schoolers as well. And then finally, if you're like me and you're a visual learner and you want to see somebody create a YouTube channel, go to YouTube and we have these series of quick help videos. In fact, you can see over here, how do I create a YouTube channel for my business? So this is a great resource for you. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have questions, I think, and maybe this might be, I'm going to open it up in the Q&A. And I'll try to answer this. And then Christy or Danny, if you see any out there that I don't answer, let me know. Okay, so one of the questions I got from Shelly is, I can't find the create a channel you should. Can you review? Thanks. So if you're already logged into your Google account, up here in the top right, you should see a little circle that has either your image or like your initials. That's your Google account. When you right click on it, you should see create a channel if you're logged in. Otherwise, go to youtube.com and then you should be able to find the create a channel there. Sarah's asking, should we create a new Google account that all of our business accounts will be related to, or should we use our business account? So that's a good question. The answer that I give is whatever you're in the most. So if you're in your personal account all the time, you can use that. That'll be sort of, it's all back end. They're not going to see that, but that is just what allows you to log in and out, or to go in and out without having to log in and out. So the one you're in the most would be the best one that I would recommend. And let's see this too. Oh, and I think, and Danny, can you answer some of these as well? You want to jump in? I'm seeing.
I'm just looking, you kind of went through this. So Sarah's got a lot of questions. She asked, what's a good video editing program? I see you answered the next one.
Yeah, I see. So Sarah, a video editing program. What I'll do is I'll try to send a link to, but video editing programs, and this is going to sound funny, but it's so true. If you Google, because it depends on what you do, right? So literally go and Google, what is the best video editing program for, and it depends, right? Because sometimes you might be on an Apple device or an Android device. Sometimes it might be depending on what your industry or what your company does. Sometimes it depends on how advanced you want to get with it. That's like such a big question. So I would Google that and look. And then what I do is I'll Google a lot of times. And then when I start seeing the same names pop up, like after 3 or 4, like top 3, that's kind of where but like, I've got like I've got an iPhone. And so I just use, like, there's iMovie, which is a great little editing device. It's really simple and easy to use. And then you're, so, and you're asking when we do our live stream, I think that's what you meant, is are we able to limit who sees them maybe for a first video for a test run? You know what, actually, that's a really good question. I would need to look into that. I haven't thought about that. I do think when you're going in, you might be able to select who you see, but I want to say it's live. It's out for anybody. And then Holly asked, last year I could not gain access to my YouTube channel using all available emails. Had to create a new channel. Any ideas? My content is still available in the original channel. Was just starting. It was only one video, but okay. So this is where go to the Creator Academy and type in that issue. There is a way, and it's hard for me to describe on a webinar, but when you type in your question, especially because sometimes we have folks that have videos on other channels, or they did it and they want to move it or they want to delete them, it should take you through step by step exactly how to do that. And Shelly's asking, how do you draw or add onto a YouTube video like in a game? That is a little bit out of my area of expertise, but that's a good question. I'm thinking that you would need either the editing application, you could go in and draw on it. It would depend on the application that you're using. That should do it. I've never really had to draw or never drawn before, but that would be it. I would imagine any app that you use, editing app, they'll have, you can go around, there's highlighter, there's a little pen, there's something like that that you can use. Does YouTube have this is a really good question, Enrique. Does it have a closed caption feature? And it does. Yeah, and you can set that up too. So as well, that's a really good question. And that's really important because, there's a lot of sort of visually impaired folks that need that. So that's a great question. And then does it have the capability to do some translation to different languages? Now that is a good question. I don't know that, but I would imagine it would. But the problem with that is, that's a good question. In an ideal world, that would be awesome. But I wonder how good the translation is. My guess is, and obviously I don't know the true answer, my guess is that it would have the capability to translate, but you would want to test that out to make sure that it translates effectively. I think we're getting better at that, but I don't know that's 100% perfect. That's a great question. Thank you. All right.
We're trying to do YouTube live streams from our story times for the library, and we're going through all of these lovely YouTube questions, and the closed captioning is perfect. It does really well on YouTube, as does Facebook. The metadata on YouTube, the way it translates it's not quite synced up to other languages quite yet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's getting better, but it's not. Yeah, that's tricky. Let's see. And then I see in chat, where do you get music that you're allowed to play on YouTube on your videos? The thing there is going to be, it's like photos. You want to be careful not to just go out and do search and add video or music or photos because they're copyrighted. You could get in trouble for that. So probably your best bet is to go to these libraries out there that have sort of stock music that you can play. And that would be my recommendation for that.
Yeah, they have musiclibraryassociation.org.
musiclibraryassociation.org. That's good. I'm going to write that down. I know that. Great.
I have a list on there someplace, but I can include that with anybody that wants to reach out to the library.
Good. These are great questions. All right. Any more questions? Perfect. Well, this was a great crowd. Christy and Danny, thank you so much for hosting again. By the way, you guys, so you guys will get the slides. in the recording, I believe, right, Danny? I think
Recording is available. Yes, recording is available, and they'll get the slides. Yep.
And by the way, did you guys know Union County Libraries are one of the best libraries in the whole United States? Literally, as of this week, for an award, and you guys were a part of it. So that's really, it's always awesome. I love the Charlotte Square chapter, and I love Union County Libraries. It's so fun to be on here with you guys. So looking forward to our next webinar, and appreciate, and the name of the music library again was videolibraryassociation.org, right? I think that was Shelley was asking that. All right,
Music
guys.
Library. Music
Thank you.
Library Association. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Okay.
Demi. Thanks, Christy. And I see Renee from the SPCC is on too. Thanks, Renee.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Bye.